Giraffe and a G-string, bitch. Calm down. You're a producer now, so this is what you do. Is it recording already? It's recording now? Great. It's so funny. What's up, boys and girls, cats and scrubs? We're Thirdeyeshooter, Jonathan, Todd Goldstein. And today is the first installation of my podcast, Giraffe and a G-string. This is a idea podcast I've wanted to do for a while. It's not always going to be a solo podcast, but for just the introductory part of the podcast, it's going to be just me for right now, so you can get a better holding for me, if you will. That was terrible. I realized like I'm David Attenborough. So I'm holding the future in my hand, not down.
Well, I thought about a nutsack.
Oh, you thought I was holding a nutsack. Thank you. By the way, don't stop it. No, I'm gonna put this in. By the way, that was my producer I'm talking to off camera, behind the scenes. So voices can technically be from behind the scenes, so it also adds a dynamic, and I love it. So thank you. But so Giraffe and a G-string. This podcast is gonna be about just how I feel, current affairs. It's gonna be a variety of topics and things I feel like I want to talk about. I talk about whatever I want to talk about, so I'm gonna do it. The first thing I definitely want to talk about that I know a lot of people have seen, or it's getting a lot of waves in media, is the issue that's going on with Haiti. And I think this is the second time it's been in Texas of Chuck Norris level Texas Walker Ranger. Pause the video right there. So when I'm making the joke about Chuck Norris and Texas Walker Ranger, back in 2019, two Galveston police officers arrested 43-year-old Danelle Neely. They happened to be on horseback, and they thought it would be appropriate in 2019, instead of calling a squad car, they used rope to tie his hands behind his back, and they trotted him along in the city. Two Galveston police officers in Texas, and they were on horses. I'll continue the video. Thanks. Rangers and people of color being wrangled up by horses or whipped at, and I think it's crazy that not only are we in a pandemic where people definitely do need help, and there should be a different level of humility, but they're seeking asylum and they're being beaten and met with aggression and force. So it begs to make you ask, not even a level of racism, but it's like, can't you just see someone else as another human being in need? And it's human decency, and you start to wonder, like, if these are people that have authority, that are points of authority or have authoritarian figures, and this is what they do with their power. And this is what they do on camera. Imagine what they don't do. Imagine what legislation they're pushing. Imagine what agenda they're pushing. So it's not like I'm not trying to say that, these cops or whatever, they had a job to do. But I think at one point, do you go, this is a job, but I'm a human being? And there's a famous study. So the study in which I'm actually speaking about is called the Milgram experiment. It was conducted by Stanley Milgram, a professor who originally spoke about it or started speaking about it in his article back in 1963 of the Journal of Abnormal and Social Psychology. The video continues now. I forgot what scientist or what professor conducted it, where he would tell people, every time you press that button, you're going to electrocute someone. And they would lie and say they would do it up to the vote to kill someone. And I think it was like 82% of people would just comply with it and press it and actually kill the person. Now, it was a fake thing, but you would go, that's what power does. Power inherently corrupts. So it's just like, I hope with the media coverage it's getting, the people of Haiti, the people who are seeking asylum here, you were met with more than just that. And I'm sorry that is your first introduction to what you may think American life is like. Some places it is. Let's call it what it is. It's terrible, but not everyone's like that. And, I think one of a common misconception is in being a person of color, where if I say I dislike police, people think I dislike all police. Not all police are killing people. Not all police are bad. There are dozens of police officers who have rebelled against the colors in blue, to protect the thin blue line. And it's like, how much blood needs to be on a blue line before you realize it's a blue line? It's a uniform. It's something you can take off, because once I'm dead, or God forbid I'm dead because I sneeze next to a cop and he deems it a biological warfare and he shoots me in my face 9 times and he gets away with it, and it's like, you can take off that uniform. I can't take back a life you took. So, yeah, I just hope, pray for Haiti, hope everything gets better, and I hope media realizes that you really do sometimes paint a negative demographic of certain peoples and issues when you just show the worst of it. And if you just show the worst of any race or of any group, you're gonna go, wow, cops are terrible. But so it's like, how come we hear stories about the cops that shot an unarmed person, but how come we don't hear about the cops that ran into a fire to go save a family of 9? How come we hear about the criminals that did this, but not the person that was in that neighborhood that became a doctor? It's just, it's easy to push an agenda when it's clear what the agenda is. Another topic. Let's change the whole momentum of the podcast right now, because it's weird. This is just a weird brainstorm, just vomiting out things. So this is what happened today. Literally woke up, posted, "Hey, I'm available for shoots," and someone replied with laughter. So, I don't know how you guys replied with laughter in the face of like trying to pay your bills. Like, hey, I hear you're a painter. How much you charge? Ha 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 ha. That's usually insulting. Then it's like, let's say that insult was a mistake. Stop talking. Hey, I made a boo-boo. I made a verbal boo-boo and I'm done. So I think one of the other things I think in that conversation I felt, or it made me realize, is there's a very underappreciation, still an undervalued aspect for artists. Now, when I say artists, I don't just mean photographers, because I think it's easy to say I'm just a photographer because I am a photographer, but just as much as I'm a photographer, I'm a writer. Just as much as I'm a writer, I'm a painter. Now, I'm not saying my paintings are amazing, but I still do draw. There's still avenues of expression in which I explore that are just more than just this. And I think in that conversation where it's like, you laugh at me saying I charge $200 for an hour and 15 edited pictures, but it's like, I'm shooting you on a Nikon Z6. That's just the body. Then I'm talking about the lenses and the programs. It's like, there's investments. Now, I'm not saying that as a sob story, but everyone does invest a certain level of time and energy. Now, as a model, if you're a real model, you're going to invest in classes, posing, how to make facial expressions, certain types of clothes, so you can do a variety of styles. So you're just not doing one thing. So it's like, what I charge is an assessment of the qualitative state of my work, not the qualitative state on their work or their behalf. And it wasn't even an offer of what I was offering to base on. It was what I charged for someone, and that wasn't even my full price. So it's a very enlightening sense where one of the things that's been made aware to me over the past year, just in my life, I have a temper problem. So sometimes little issues will cause very big flare-ups, and I'm so grateful for the people that are around me who've made it apparent that there are problems in my life, and there are things in which that I have to change, not for them, but to be a better asset to society and myself as a man. It's like, how comfortable can someone be who doesn't know me at all and go, I'm closed-minded because I'm defending what I do as a living, what I do to pay my bills. So yeah, I just think it kind of also, this topic also kind of commingles with the first one about humility. The sense of like, instead of us sometimes coming together on our differences, if we can find out 5 reasons why we are different, I guarantee there's 10 things we have that are similar. And sometimes, a smile is universal. Sometimes a wave is universal. And I think in those things that have universal meanings, music is universal. Love is universal. And instead of the differences, let's find similarities. And I think that's what I think I'm going to go into for the next year. And just moving forward in life is, instead of finding out the things that disrupt my peace, let me find out ways to either A, navigate away from that, B, avenues in which I can express how that disrupts my peace. And, again, separation or distance doesn't mean that it's hatred. It's sometimes you just have to, I said this to someone once, the freedom that they give me shouldn't be their noose. And I think that is so true, because sometimes you suffocate yourself in like just so much crazy shit. And I think that's what's going on in the world. It's just literally just crazy shit. It's one thing after the fuck another. It's the pandemic, then it's like police brutality, then it's like unemployment scams, then it's like, listen, I recently just got a car, and I mean, it's funny that those extended warranties called, because I almost got into it.
Concerning your car's
my car got
extended warranty.
I almost gave out all my information. I think I low-key probably, that's how I did. I think someone stole my identity because I was dumb. I was like, Judy from Nissan called me, and then I called Nissan, and they was like, no one by the name of Judy works. I was like, oh, Judy got everything. Judy know everything now. So I want to upload this to YouTube. I'm going to hit up one of them YouTube people that scam the scams. Like, hey, can you do the scam? But yeah, back to the original, back to the point I was making. Humility. Also, underpaid artists. And I think what I want to express on behalf of all artists is that what artists charges you isn't what they need, but it's what they feel they're worth. And an artist is someone who literally goes against the grain because there is no 401k plan for artists. There is no like backup plan. Like my art, what I do with my cameras, what I do with my words, what I do with my videos, I'm leaving pieces of myself behind. So like, this is gonna sound crazy, just like Basquiat. I'm not gonna say I'm overdose myself or I plan to pass away, but it's like Basquiat died, and what was left behind was his paintings. And even though more and more his paintings are coming out, same thing with Rembrandt, where Rembrandt's like, oh no, these are all his paintings, and no ones are being found. It's the things artists leave behind are defining parts of them, and it's their bookmarks for their life. Because a picture I took 6 years ago, it's gonna be edited different because the way I see something is gonna be so different. I think there needs to be more appreciation on artistry other than I'm a rapper, I'm a basketball player, or I make clothes, because just in those facets they have their freedom of expression, and you will pay whatever it is for their content. Why is it that if it comes to a painter, an artist, anything, there's a question like, oh, can you do this? Not because when you go to Motorola, Nextel, or Miney, or anything else, and they say, oh, these pants are $1,000, you're gonna go, oh, can you hold me down? Why is there ever the sense of needing to hold someone down when it's a familiar face? Maybe that's why there's sometimes a sense of a crabs in a barrel mentality, because instead of you willing to uplift someone and have the idea like, hey, that person's gonna hold me down, you'd much rather keep everyone down. But yeah, what's the time on, like, how long have I been chit-chatting, just talking?
This one is 18.
18 minutes? Alright, listen, guys. This is about to be 20 minutes. I feel like I've chit-chatted enough. I didn't want to make this video too long, but again, thank you very much for tuning in. Thirdeyeshooter, producer in the back. Can I say your name? Do you want to have any, like... So do you want, like, your real name or, like, your AK? Do you want, like, Star? Do you want... Like, what do you want me to say? Like...
We'll talk about it.
Alright. So again, thank you very much for tuning in. This is Giraffe and a G-string. Pow! Oh, it's Giraffe and a G-string, bitch.